All right, welcome back to the channel. So Adrian Broner is calling out Floyd Mayweather Jr. for a fight, wants $30 million for the fight that he calls a chance of a lifetime. Wow. I like that fight. I wouldn't mind it happening. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So Adrian the Problem Broner. Doesn't seem like that long ago that Adrian Broner was one of the biggest prospects in the sport of boxing. He was coming up, I think he was at 130 pounds, 30 pounds, then up to 135 pounds. Was really just, the man. Was supposed to be the next Floyd Mayweather Jr. And then things just didn't go that way. A lot of stuff going on outside the ring. A lot of stuff not going on inside the ring that should happen in the ring for a guy of that talent. And it just seems as if, Adrian Broner is not or did not quite pan out to be the guy that people want him to be. That said, he is, however, a better man in some ways than I thought he was when he was being touted as this big star, right? The next Floyd Mayweather Jr. He was somebody that at 135 pounds was the best guy at 135 pounds, even though Terrence Crawford was there, right? That's how high in esteem that they were holding him. But, just did not pan out all the way. But what he did do is he always fought tough competition. And he's always he's almost given it as good as he gets. He's a very, very high level fighter, man. To get through the fight with Manny Pacquiao, I mean, if you just look at the number of people that he has fought, Adrian Broner has fought, from Marcus Maidana to Sean Porter, right, to Manny Pacquiao. This guy takes on very, very, very tough fights. And he does it like back to back to back to back, which is something not a lot of people do, man. He was not match made, into what he became, right? He took chances, probably ate his way out of the weight class that he should have been at, but it is what it is, It is what it is. He's back now and saying that he wants to have a fight with Floyd Mayweather Jr. And I got to tell you, man, I like the fight. I do. Not that I think that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is the best fighter in the world now. I don't believe he is. He's an older guy, 42, 43 years old. Is this what he is? Now, can he beat Adrian Broner? I suspect that he might still be able to beat Adrian Broner just because of how incredibly high a level he was, Floyd Mayweather Jr. was when he was operating at his absolute peak. But that's not the case anymore. And I don't really know if Floyd Mayweather Jr., if he's going to get into the ring, really has any more options or better options than Adrian Broner. And just if you look at who he's been talking about fighting and you look at Adrian Broner, really the Adrian Broner fight makes more sense, make more money. You know what I mean? Conor McGregor was somebody he was looking at having a rematch with, but that's not going to happen because Conor McGregor just got knocked out, right? Excuse me. Conor McGregor just got knocked out. So, you can no longer sell that. So is Floyd going to do that exhibition, right? He can go over there to Japan and fight Tekashi 6ix9ine again, right? Whoever that kid is or something like that. Get him a good 10, 15 million anytime he wants to, I'm sure. However, those are not $100 million fights. Those are not $200 million fights. Those are fights where, guys like Deontay Wilder are getting more money than that, right? Floyd, in order for Floyd to get a really big payday, Floyd needs kind of a unique character to work with. And, not somebody named Jake Paul or Paul Logan or Logan Paul, whatever his name is, that guy. Nobody's going to be interested in that fight because they know that Floyd's just going to beat him up, right? And I don't care how juiced up that kid looks or whatever. He's just not going to be able to do anything with Floyd because he's not a boxer. But if you take and you say, oh, well, maybe we make a fight with Adrian Broner, like Adrian Broner and Floyd. Could you imagine the lead up to the fight between Adrian Broner and Floyd Mayweather? Like, first of all, everybody's just going to assume that Floyd is going to win that fight. And it's just going to be an easy walk in the park for Floyd because Floyd is just such a much higher level fighter. And he is a much higher level fighter. But he's also old. He's also old. You know what I mean? And Adrian Broner, I don't know if he beats him. Don't know. Adrian is a counterpuncher. I don't see Floyd just walking Adrian down. I don't think that the size is relatively the same. And it would be really, really interesting to see. An interesting fight to see that would make a whole lot of money. Now, Adrian was saying that he wants, I think, $30 to $40 million. I should look exactly what he said. But he was like, we should make this money together. I guess he talked about some sparring matches that they had in the past, and they were like, "Look, man, the wars we've had in sparring are so good. Let's just get into the ring and do it." Now, do I think that this guy that Floyd is gonna give him that opportunity? No, probably not. Floyd is gonna make money off the promotion of the fight for sure, but is he gonna give Adrian Broner that type of fight? I doubt it. That he would. I wouldn't mind to see it. I would definitely pay for it. I would definitely put my money up to watch that fight. And I think a lot of other people will, But it is a pipe dream, I know. But talking about Adrian Broner moving forward, though, I don't think that this next stage in Adrian Broner's career is a pipe dream at all. And I actually have a suspicion that you're going to see a lot of really good things out of Adrian Broner over the next year and a half, 2 years, man, because he's really been through some things from the outside looking in, obviously, right? He's really gone through some things that have put him in a position where he needs to be much more focused. You can see it in his training. You can see it in his attitude. You can see in the way that his gut, the gut that he had has almost disappeared. And he looks like he's doing the training and all that stuff in the right way. I expect really, really good things from Adrian Broner over the next couple of years. I would just hope that what Al Heyman would do and what Showtime would do is give Adrian Broner an opportunity to really shine. There's a lot of fighters out there that are getting opportunities to fight guys that are match made for them where they just look really good because they're fighting guys that are tailor-made for them. My thought is on Adrian Broner, why don't you give him like a year and a half of just tailor-made fights? Just give him tailor-made fighters with a decent name that can go to sleep, that he can knock out. Let him experiment. Let him have some fun in the boxing ring. Let him dominate these dudes, make some paydays, get himself to where he feels like he's really in a rhythm. And if he can get himself really to a rhythm or something, maybe a catchweight fight for a secondary belt. You know what I mean? Something like the WBA regular that, Ugas now has or something, even though I don't think Adrian can beat Ugas, but he might be willing to fight Ugas, So I just think that there's a lot of things out there for Adrian Broner. And on top of it, he's Adrian Broner. And unlike the rest of you guys out there, I'm just going to say it, unlike 99% of the people involved in boxing, unlike 99% of the people I've seen in boxing, Adrian Broner actually has a likable personality. I mean, yeah, he's a clown with all of that, I got $13, I'm not paying my bills type of thing. But maybe he ain't got the money. Maybe he really does only have $13, to his name, and everybody else spent up all his money. That's very, very possible. Crazier things have happened, right? So, but this is now time for Adrian to repair all of that, right? Him to get the major paydays. The $30 million for Adrian Broner, he should at least in 4 fights, 5 fights, he should have $100 million. He should have that lady paid off. I don't know, was it $800,000, but now it's $4 million. He should have that lady paid off real easy. Just write a check. Make sure it's good. You know what I mean? And it's backed by some diamonds or some gold or something that you can melt down. Grab some of your friend's jewelry, separate it, and melt it down. You know what I mean? Sell the pieces. You probably get $800,000 for that. Be out of debt. Then you're out there fighting on Showtime, making on easy fights where you're looking good and growing your fan base again, and everybody's excited about the problem. Man, it could be a beautiful thing, man. It could really be, it could be a rags to riches story for Adrian Broner, and I expect to see that. But that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think, and with that, I'm out. Peace.